Hello everyone, it's Leo, and in this video I am going to share theories concerning the witch, the queen, the legendary cure, and Butler in Tropical-Rouge Precure. I feel like this story is being very interesting and intriguing. I cannot wait to learn more about this very curious, peculiar, and amazing story from Tropical-Rouge. You guys know how much I'm loving the villains from this season, and I feel like the background story for this season might surprise us. But I've gathered my thoughts about lots of things and I want to share in this video. Just a little disclaimer, lots of spoilers, and also my theories might end up being wrong, as they almost always are. And I'm also going to share a theory of mine that just came on my mind, which is the real villain of Tropical-Rouge is actually the Queen of Grand Ocean. Not really, but I'm gonna share it nonetheless. But let's start talking about the witch, which seems to be the most intriguing part of it all, and her relationship with the legendary cure that appeared in episode 29. We don't know much, but I feel like we know enough to speculate and try to guess what is actually behind the scenes and what happened in the past of Tropical-Rouge. Let's start with two episodes that seem to be key episodes for information. One is episode 4 and another one is episode 29. In episode 4, we have two pieces of information that are interesting. The first one is the Little Mermaid story that Minori is reading right at the start of the episode. I don't think the story itself is important, but one of the things that seem to be important is that the mermaid that appears in this story right at the start has the same color palette of the human form, of the civilian form of the legendary cure that appears in episode 29. Is that intentional? Is that just a coincidence? Is this just a correlation they try to make without much intent? Or is it saying more to us? And also in this episode we have our first glimpse of the legendary cure, as Laura tells Sango and Manatsu that the legendary cure in the past saved both the human and the mermaid world. So this legendary cure appears in a silhouette. Very interesting that the silhouette is completely different from the cure that appears in episode 29, but I feel like they just didn't want to show us the real one so early on. So we didn't really have a clear figure of her. And also the fact that Laura has never seen her before. She just heard about her in Grand Ocean. So as Laura was telling the story, maybe she didn't really know details about her looks. That's why they didn't want to show us. But one interesting thing about her is that it seems that she's wearing ballerina shoes, and those are, at least the laces of the shoes, are the same ones that appear in Summer's, in Curious Summer's Excellent Tropical Style. So I don't know if that is a correlation as well or not, or it's just something, it's just a similarity. This legendary cure is mentioned again in episode 29. Laura mentions it again to Manatsu that the legendary cure was or is a big legend in Grand Ocean. And she knows that this legend tells the Grand Ocean citizens that this legendary cure saved Grand Ocean from the witch. And Manatsu asks her, is that the witch of delays? And Laura says, that I don't know. So the legend says that the past cure saved the world from a witch. But is that really true? It doesn't seem so. I feel like there are some pieces missing in legends, and we know how legends can be different from the real stories. So that is why I'm going to try to piece things together here. In episode 29, we see the witch dreaming about the legendary cure in her human form, in her civilian form. We see her dreaming about her twice, and she was having nightmares, as if she couldn't actually remember her, and that thought was giving her pain. At the same time, in the same episode, we learn that the witch does not know that the cures are actually fighting and they exist at this time. And Butler is protecting her from this information. This information might cause her even more pain that she is already feeling. So Butler is hiding information from the Queen, and the other villains are part of this because they are just following Butler's directions, and Butler told them not to tell the Queen about the cures. Why is that? I'm gonna get to there. But first is that the Queen dreaming about this legendary cure connects to the fact that the legendary cure asks the cures to save the witch. Since the start of the season, what we know is that the witch attacked Grand Ocean, deprived them from motivation, and Grand Ocean isn't a society anymore. The Queen is the only functioning member of that society, and she is there, and she sent Laura to the human world to find the cures so that they're able to restore the glory of Grand Ocean and fight against the witch. So the Queen tells Laura that, not directly, but the witch needs to be defeated. And now the legendary cure says the witch needs to be saved. So the cures need to save the witch, but they don't know the witch, and the witch doesn't even know the cures are fighting. And Butler sees the legendary cure, and he is very surprised of seeing her at this time. Another fact is that both the witch and the Queen are very huge. Their size are humongous, like they are so big. And this makes me wonder if it's a parallel between both of them. I mean, both of them seem to be way bigger than their counterparts. Like the Queen is way bigger than Laura, and the witch is way bigger than Laura as well, but not only Laura, she is way bigger than her minions too. This makes me believe that the witch was actually a Queen candidate, just like Laura is. Why is that? Again, going back to episode 29, we see in episode 29 lots of mirrors appearing. We see the dresser from the cures that was made in episode 28, and that dresser and the mirror from the dresser was very important to give them their power up. But the mirror was also important for Laura. Laura won the mirror in episode 1. I mean, we didn't actually see that, I believe, but that was given to all the Queen candidates. And that mirror was important in episode 28, in episode 29, but it was also important throughout the season to Laura. And it was also an emotional connection that Laura had to Grand Ocean and the Queen and her memories there. But the mirrors were also important in the witch's lair in episode 29. We see the witch and a broken mirror in her room. So that makes me believe that that was her mirror from when she was a Queen's candidate. She was part of Grand Ocean. She applied to be the Queen's candidate. And that didn't work out for her, but she kept on that mirror. Her mirror was cracked. And what appeared in the reflection of her mirror was Butler. That image of Butler appearing in the witch's cracked mirror is kind of ominous and kind of dark if you think about it. But Butler is a special case. So far, Butler hasn't shown any emotion apart from worry about the witch. That was the only emotion he's ever shown. There is one episode, I don't exactly remember the number of the episode, that Butler was asking Elda to go and attack. And Elda was playing. Elda's a child, so she was playing pretend with her toys. And she's tried to interact with Butler and make Butler play as well. Butler didn't understand, because it seems to me that Butler does not understand those kind of relationships. And he doesn't understand that pretend play that Elda was doing, that child's heart that Elda has. He doesn't understand it. And it doesn't seem to me that he understands emotions in general. Like when the generals showed their discontent to going to attack, Butler doesn't even acknowledge it. It feels like Butler doesn't understand those kinds of emotions. So I feel like Butler only thinks about the Queen. And so, in episode 29, the Queen was having nightmares and she was suffering because she was having memories and dreams of that past cure. And there was even a scene in which she was trying to reach her, and she even asked her in her own dream, Why are you so dazzling with such a gleeful, joyful smile? And it feels like she, the witch, is so far away from happiness and smiles that she couldn't stand it. And to me, that makes me believe that she is being controlled, because there's that thing in her head, and it feels like it's not making her feel things. It's trying to make her stop to feel things. And she is trying to delay something. And at the start, it felt like she was just a lazy witch that didn't want to do anything. But now things seem to be different. What is she delaying? And that's where I think Butler comes in. Butler is an interesting case because he seems to be controlling the witch, in my opinion. Now, this is my theory now. Butler seems to be controlling her. And he is the one who seems to be around the witch, trying to shield her from everything else from the outside. And I feel like he is doing that not because he is evil and he's trying to gain something from that. I believe that Butler is doing this to shield the queen from suffering. And everything that he is doing, all the motivation he is helping her collect, is to delay the emotions she would feel when she sees that she lost the legendary cure, who was probably her friend in the past. Okay, so what we know about Laura is that Laura came to Earth to find the cures, and that was part of her the queen's trials. I call it like that. That was part of the queen's trials, and maybe in the past there was something like that, and the queen's trials were held, and the queen's candidates. We don't know if queens can only be mermaids or any sea creatures. Because we see that in Grand Ocean there are lots of mermaids, but we also see there are other sea creatures too. They're not very humanoid looking, but we know that in the sea we have humanoid looking creatures. We see Numidi, Elda, and Shongire, and even Butler and the Witch to an extent. And so I believe that that was part of the Queen's trials in the Witch's time as well. And so she came to Earth, she found this girl, they became friends, and this girl became the cure. Just like Laura and Manatsu. And the witch became friends with this girl. And then this girl became a cure, and time passed, this girl died, and the witch is still alive. But their friendship isn't there anymore because the girl died. And so for the witch not to suffer, Butler got her and did what he had to do to protect her and shield her from this feeling. This is my theory. And now let's jump on to another theory, which is the Queen of Grand Ocean is actually the villain of Tropical-Rouge Precure. So before I start, I just want to say that everything that I'm going to say in this video, every argument I'm going to make in this video, can be easily debunked. I have even said the opposite in previous videos and episodes such. And I believe that I don't even believe in my arguments, but I'm gonna make them anyways, just for fun. So, the Queen is actually the villain of Tropical-Rouge Precure, and here's why. Fact number 1. In the past, we learned that someone was trying to collect motivation, and a mermaid tried to stop them. And this mermaid got a chalice full of motivation and hid this chalice inside a cave. Now, there is no motivation inside Grand Ocean. There is no motivation there. And I believe that the Queen was the one who hid the motivation chalice inside that cave. So if she knew the motivation chalice was in that cave, why didn't she go and get the chalice to get that motivation back to her people? Also, there's the fact that there is no society in Grand Ocean anymore. People are just laying down with no motivation. No one is doing anything. The Queen was not attacked. That is very suspect. And she is just there in her throne, smiling. She's always smiling. She's always like that. That's it. That's all she does. I mean, that's not all she does, because she sends sweets to Laura, she sends Kurudun to Laura, she gives Laura a power, she gives the girls power-ups, you know, she does her thing, but she does her thing to try to stop the witch, which is not actually a villain, and she is not actually trying to retrieve the motivation from her people. What is she doing? Is she just lacking motivation as well because she's just sitting there? She just doesn't want to do anything? Weird, right? It seems that she knows everything that is going on with Laura, and she never tells Laura anything. She just wants Laura to make her own decisions, even when she puts herself in danger. Like in the episode that she became La Mare. I mean, things could have escalated in another way, and the Queen didn't do anything. She was just there. And she never takes action. She is huge. She can at least try to do something, but she doesn't. She leaves everything in the hands of the one citizen of Grand Ocean who wasn't hurt by the motivation capture. Very weird, very suspect. Anyways, this is all a joke because, as I said, I don't believe that the Queen is actually the villain. But I feel like sometimes if you think on a different perspective, this seems kinda suspect, doesn't it? I'm just joking. I love the Queen. I think she is super pretty. But it would be very nice if she ended up being the actual villain of Tropical-Rouge and she, like, separated the witch from the legendary cure because she didn't want the witch to be the queen and she wanted to be the queen. So she, like, separated them and painted the witch as a witch and took the throne for herself. How nice would that be? I would love to see something like that. But it's not gonna happen, let's be real. Anyways, these are my theories concerning Tropical-Rouge. Please share yours in the comments and let's keep this nice talk going. Anyways, guys, I just want to take this time to thank the members of the Magical Cinema channel. Thank you so much for all of your support and for making this kind of thing possible. Thank you. And if you've watched up to now, thank you so much as well. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, bye-bye.